Okay, so in this video I want to start to fetch our products from the database. Right now we just have these two routes here directly in our server.js that are just getting products from this JavaScript file. Now I don't want to put all my routes in this file here. That would get quite crowded and messy. So in our backend folder, let's create a folder called routes. And in this routes folder, I'm going to have a file called product routes.js. Now in here we want to import express because we need to use the router. So express from express, and then let's create a variable here called router. And we're going to set this to express.uppercase R router. And then let's go ahead and export default router. Now I'm going to grab from server.js these two routes here, products and products ID, and just cut those out, and let's put them in here. Now we want to change app to router. All right, and we don't need /API/products because we're going to point this to this file. Okay, anything that's API products. So this will just be /, and then this one here will just be /ID. Now in server.js, we're going to go ahead and bring that file in. So let's say import product routes from, and we want to go, let's see, into routes/product routes, and make sure you add the .js if you're using, ES modules. And then down here we're going to mount it. So we'll say app.use and say for anything that goes to /API/products is going to be linked to product routes. And then we can get rid of this because we're not going to be using this products.js data file anymore. So we can get rid of that. And in our product routes, we're going to go ahead and bring in the model. So const product, and we want to import product from, and that's going to be up one level into models and product model. And then down here where we're getting all our products, let's say const products, and we want to set that to the model, so product, and we're going to use the find method and pass in an empty object which just gives us everything. Now this returns a promise. Okay, whenever we use a Mongoose method, it returns a promise. So we could use the .then syntax, which I don't like to use. So we'll need to say await and make this async. Now, this isn't going to handle any errors. So what we could do is put a try catch here, but we'll have to do that in just about every route where we're dealing with the database. And I'd rather not do that. So I'm going to use this express async handler middleware. So it's a simple middleware for handling exceptions inside of async express routes, passing them to your error handlers. And we're going to create a custom error handler in a little bit. But let's go ahead and install this. And all we have to do is just wrap it. So you can see right here, we just need to wrap the entire thing with the async handler. So let's go back to VS Code and let's install that. So npm install, and it's called express-async-handler. And then we're going to bring that in. So we'll go up here and let's import express async handler, and that's going to be from express async handler. And then we just have to wrap this right here where we have this async. We're going to add, actually let's just call it async handler, not express. So here we'll say async handler and just wrap here, and we want to end it down here. All right, so that should be able to get all products. Now as far as getting by the ID, let's say instead of doing this, const product, and we want to await, use the product model, and we're going to use find by ID, and we're going to pass in request.params.id, which will give us whatever the ID that is in the URL. Now we do want to check to make sure that there's a product. So let's say if product, then we're going to return it or respond with it. So let's move this up here. And else, then we want to respond with an error, with a 404. So we can say res. Now we can send whatever status code we want. So let's say res.status, and then a 404 is not found. And we'll just add on to this .json, and we'll send a message. And that message will just say product not found. And we're going to create an error handler in a little bit as well. Now this also, we have to mark this async, and we have to wrap this with the async handler. So there and here. All right, so we'll save that. Now one thing I like to do, and if you took my Node course or my other MERN-Stat course, you know I like to add up here just a header for each route that says what it is and the access level and stuff like that. So I'm going to say description, and this is going to fetch all products, and then I just want the actual route. And by the way, we're going to move this stuff to a product controller in a little bit. I just like to take things one step at a time. I think that it helps give people a clearer picture of what's going on. So this will be a GET request to API/products. And then as far as the access, and what I mean by access is some routes will need a token. For instance, when you purchase a product, you need to be logged in. So you need to send a token to specific routes, and those will be private routes. This is a public route, meaning anyone can hit it. So let's grab that and let's put that here. So this will fetch a single product, and it's going to be products/:ID, and it's public. Okay, so that should do it. Let's head over to our browser, and we're going to be using Postman to test routes on the back end, but just for now, before we get into Postman, we'll just try it here just to make sure that this works. So if we go to localhost 5000/API/products, we get nothing, and that's because the server's not running. So let's run npm run server. It looks like we have an issue here. Probably forgot .js. Product model, I forgot .js. I just started recently using ES modules in the back end, so I might do that a few times. So let's go back here now that that's running, and now we're actually getting data from the database. And if we grab one of these IDs, so you can see the object IDs are going to look like this. So if we go product/ and then the ID, we should get that ID. Now if I change this 9 on the end to whatever, a 0, we're going to get a message, product not found, and it should be a 404 status. So if we look in over here, it tells us, and also if you look in your network tab, and I reload this, right here, you see in the headers it's a 404. And that's because we said res.status 404. Okay, now in the next video, I want to start using Postman. So we're gonna, I already have it downloaded, but you should download it, and I'll just show you how to get a basic setup. We can put our URL as a global variable and stuff like that. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.